detective thrill me.
Thanks for joining us. We thought we'd go to a little bit of TV this week. I know a couple of seasons back we covered Slasher, all the episodes of Slasher, both season 4 and season 5 I think we did.
We did.
So we thought we'd have a dip at the new series made by the same people called Hell Motel. So we'll cover the first episode now. But before we get to that, we're going to do a quick run through. We've got a fair bit beforehand just to sort of pad things out because the episode would be a bit short. So to start with, what have you been watching?
Pretty limited, pretty busy, but got some school holidays coming up, so we'll start to pad things out
Jimmy
after
gets
that.
fucking smashed.
Yeah. So I started with Last Take. It's called Last Take, Rust and the Story of Helena, who was the woman that got shot.
Just a side note, your text message said Rudy. It had been, and I thought, there's a fucking death in Rudy? When did this happen?
A doggo on Rudy.
And so I was fucking, I believe he's a tax evader, but that's, like I was fucking itchy to see a documentary about a murder that occurred at Rudy, on the movie Rudy.
Not
Rudy.
Not grabbing you like that one.
No.
It was actually really good because it had all the fucking police camera footage and it had footage from the people on the set.
Yeah.
So you actually see in there like police talking to Alec Baldwin immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
Like we're talking when they arrive.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear the police talking about, I need everyone to stop what they're doing. It's a fucking crime scene, essentially, like, and talking to the people involved. You see the armourer in the truck just fucking hysterical. Like it's pretty fucking sobering to watch it all.
Yeah.
But then you also get some of the footage from the police interviews and whatnot in amongst talking to a lot of the players, including one of the guys that was charged. The assistant director.
Shit.
So, yeah, it was pretty good. And it's also sort of, it was just putting forward. I don't think it was necessarily out to blame anyone. But it was just putting forward, hey, there's a guy whose job was to operate like safe workplaces and whatever and do investigations or whatever. And the way he puts it is in the lead up to an accident like this, there's a series of things that go wrong. It's not always just one.
Yep.
So essentially they kind of paint the whole thing like that the armourer was slightly negligent in what was going on and possibly brought the live rounds to the set. Whether she mistakenly did that or not, they don't really establish.
Mm-hmm.
But they also point out that she was under the hammer from producers. Like she'd got a message from producers in the same message saying, you're taking too long with some of this. You didn't give enough care to this armourer stuff. But then in the same message, they're reminding her, oh, you're paid to be the armourer and something else.
Right, so
basically
she was
telling
double duty.
Yeah, basically telling her you're not fucking doing enough with the armourer, but then cutting down the time she had to do the armourer's job. So it kind of puts everyone out there and just looks at it as a whole rather than necessarily trying to point the finger at any particular people, and also puts forward a lot about the person who was killed.
Yeah.
That, it's one of these cases where they say a lot of the media coverage was referring to her as the woman that was shot by Alec Baldwin and not using names and things like that. So they kind of put forward a little bit about who she was and how she got there. So it was actually quite a good watch.
Good.
I watched Godzilla against Mechagodzilla and Godzilla Final Wars.
Still plugging away.
That's pretty much it. Basically now Shin Godzilla is the last one up until the ones that I've seen all of.
Yeah.
And then there's a few holes to fill. But this is the end of my sort of odyssey of the last couple of weeks of watching Godzilla films. Final Wars is kind of fun because it's just over the top and just brings back every bloody monster from the series in some capacity or another. Yeah. Including the American, the 1998 Godzilla.
Oh.
They tag it as Zilla. And it shows up in Sydney.
Oh.
So that's kind of fun. Yeah, not bad. I've enjoyed getting back through them. And finally, one that you'll be fucking absolutely pumped about. Adam.
Yeah.
Bit of straight to Netflix work with our mate Sylvester called Armored.
Armored.
Well, I believe in America it's Armour.
Yes.
And for whatever reason here it's Armored.
We don't understand the word armour, according to the US
I don't know.
We speak English.
We do.
But I was saying to you, Jared, he's got another one direct to streaming with fucking Clint Eastwood's son.
Yeah.
And I bet you that's a day's work too.
Mate, if I was getting paid $3.5 million to turn up for a day, I'd be fucking taking it too.
Who the fuck's paying Sly $3.5 million for a day's work?
I read a little bit about the guy that supposedly directed. He's not credited as the director, but supposedly directed it, who's had a history of production and has previously been written up about in the LA Times for some questionable activities around, trading sexual favors for roles in movies and things like this.
Me.
And so, yeah, it's...
Nice one to hit your wagon too, Sly.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, look, it's pretty ordinary. You got Jason Patrick in there, who's the main player, really. And the premise is okay. It sort of tries to be one of these things that's like a small scale, set it up in the location and go. So it's like an armoured van situation where there's a crew that tries to knock it over and they kind of get it stuck on this bridge. And so probably 60 minutes of the movie is
on the bridge.
On the bridge. Doesn't really deliver much. Sly is just... Talk about sleepwalking through it.
Dreadful.
I'd have asked him for some of that money back.
How much? How much is the $3.5?
I'll give you $2.
$2?
Just for your name, because that's all you brought. You didn't bring the performance along with it.
But see, this is the interesting part about these sort of movies, Jared. Does he make any back end money on this? It's not like it's in a theatre, so you hired Sly. So. You hired Sly,
yeah,
because you got his name. It's going into cinemas for like 2 weeks, and we might make 25-30 million on it if we got Sly, and he's getting percentage.
Not on this.
Yeah, exactly. So what's the fucking point of that? Because I wouldn't pay the bloke $3.5 million for a
So you wouldn't be
work.
getting back end, but essentially you're hanging the whole selling of this movie on the fact that Sylvester's in it.
Yeah. Okay,
really?
Maybe it's just it's about selling it
pretty
around.
Much.
That's
pretty
it.
Much.
That's really it.
But I mean, Sylvester, have some standards, mate.
Dignity.
One day. Surely you can say, right, I'll be there at, 4 o'clock in the morning.
I want fucking 24 hours out of the bloke.
yeah. I want one
day is actually fucking 24 hours.
Look, but if you're Sylvester and you take that cash for a day's work, surely you say, right, you're getting a good day.
No, I tell you what,
I'll come along and you're getting a really good day's work out of me.
Sylvester, I know you're busy, but the fact is, you're getting paid $3.5 million. You should give him a week.
Well, I mean, look, they've cut a deal. If that's what the deal is, great. Sylvester's done a wise business move.
Well, of course.
But make sure that everyone that, you've worked with that day or everyone that watches it says, okay, well, he fucking gave it his best.
Don't laugh at disabled people.
For one. Don't do anything that HR is going to come talking
knocking
to us about.
B, deliver a performance.
Yeah.
Act.
I mean, I read.
Fuck me, Jared. It could be a piece of shit. Like, this is the thing. Sly would have seen this as, I've made a shrewd business deal, $3.5 million for a day.
Yeah.
This movie sucks. No one's going to fucking bother watching it.
Yep.
So why would I put in any effort?
Be a pro.
Yeah, be a pro.
You took the paycheck, turn up and do better than this.
Jason Patrick's still a pro.
Jason Patrick's doing all right. His performance is not bad. But yeah, there's not much there. I mean, I read the review that's been posted on RogerEbert.com about it. And the guy there described Sylvester as mushmouth, even compared to normal. He actually says in there Sylvester can be hard to understand at the best of times, but this is pretty much just mushmouth.
Is it mushmouth or mootmouth?
I don't know.
I think it's a bit of both because Sylvester, again, I'm not going to rush out. Actually, fuck it, I am going to watch this because I was actually interested in watching this. Strangely
Of
enough,
course you were.
must have been Sylvester.
Even
But-
though it didn't have Popeye in it. You just,
yeah, fucking hell, I came very close. But I thought that one was the Clint Eastwood, the Scott Eastwood one. Or is it Scott
so
Eastwood?
Patrick's not doing it for you.
No,
But Eastwood
no,
is.
no,
Eastwood's
'cause-
getting you over the line, but Patrick said no thanks.
Eastwood wasn't.
Yeah.
I thought it was the one that had Eastwood
Yeah.
when you said it was a direct to streaming, and that one looks fucking awful.
Yeah,
Like it's like
yeah.
an espionage thriller. And I'm like, fuck me, no chance. But I'd seen that trailer. It looked garbage, but I was like,
Oh, well.
I don't know. It's the sort of
I've
one you
got
could probably
Netflix.
throw 90 minutes and I'd probably be reasonably entertained. Clearly that's not true because you say it's kind of shit.
Look, it was okay. Look, I was engaged in it, but it just wasn't high quality stuff. I mean, the guy, the reviewer on Roger Ebert also had a real problem with the initial setup, which I didn't have because it's all in the sort of synopsis, but the pair in the armored car is Jason Patrick and his son.
Yeah.
And he was like, who works in an armoured car with their son? I was like, that doesn't seem all that implausible to me.
Is that what you're fucking ragging on? Because that's
Yeah.
the least of the problem.
Exactly. That was not one of the things that I was looking at going, not really working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was it?
That was it.
All right. Mine is short but interesting. I watched
You've said that before and you've lied to me.
No, that's true. They were all documentaries. All
Okay.
documentaries. I've jumped on the Trainwreck series of docos on Netflix. So they've rebranded Woodstock 99 as Trainwreck.
Yep.
They had another couple before that.
Yep.
So I went with the Mayor of Mayhem about Rob Ford, the fucking mayor of bloody Toronto or whatever, who was a crackhead and drunk. It was pretty funny. It was only 49 minutes. It's funny because he's basically Trump before Trump in a sense that he just doubled down on everything. No, that's not me. Like, the pictures of him, there was footage of him smoking crack. The sheer kind of like, I'm still going to run for mayor for a second term, even though I've clearly got problems. So he kind of was an early model of that. That you just do not you don't admit anything, you just fucking take it. You don't just go, you know what, I probably should tuck my tails between my legs and disappear. So it was fairly interesting, quite funny, and it was only 49 minutes, so that was good. The second one I watched was Trainwreck, the Astro World Tragedy, which was about the Travis Scott concert that I didn't realise, but 10 people were killed, which that seems like a fucking hell of a lot in a concert.
Yep.
And it was really interesting, Jared, especially the way they showcased why things went to shit.
Yeah.
And how that many people, the setup of the stage was wrong. The fact that the stage hadn't been used all day for any other artist. And so what you ended up with was fucking 50,000 people running to the stage at the same time. So, and you had this setup that was kind of like a trap. So once you got into it, up close to the stage, everyone was crammed. You couldn't back up. You couldn't get out.
Yeah, right.
So it was really interesting. So that one was a pretty good one. And I'm obviously, Jared, I'm looking forward to Pooh Cruise, which is coming out on Tuesday.
I believe it's called Poop Cruise.
Poop Cruise, sorry. Poop Cruise is the next Trainwreck one, which comes out on Tuesday. And I never thought I'd want to see a fucking documentary so badly because this is one of the fucking funniest yet disgusting stories ever.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. I
can't wait either.
And the last thing I watched was Surviving Ohio State, which was a documentary that just dropped on Max about the sex scandal at Ohio State University, which I was unaware of. And it was very similar to the Larry Nassar one, but but it was male wrestlers and male athletes. And I thought that they handled it. It was really interesting to hear the people who had been affected by it and the victims talk about why they couldn't come forward.
Mm.
Because, the culture, basically, and people were still saying it. Why didn't you just fucking punch the bloke out? It was quite eye-opening to think about it that way. So it was a good one. It was a good doco. I believe it was produced by George Clooney.
Right.
And that was it. Now, we're going to go up or down. Couple of trailers. One of them, not up our alley, but not good, in my opinion, was I Know What You Did Last Summer, second trailer.
Yep.
I see nothing that interests me.
No.
Nothing at all. It looks as generic as it could be.
Mm.
I hope to Christ there's something better there, and the trailers are just bad.
I mean, aside from the names from the original movie, it dead set looks like straight to streaming stuff.
It looks like I always know what you did last summer. Basically, the kind of like generic faces and like the same, like everyone looks exactly the same. If Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. don't turn up in that trailer at all, I wouldn't know why I was even interested in it.
Mm.
I just want to see. I guess I'm going to see it because A, it's a slasher.
Yeah.
B,
and it's a slasher that we've got some sort of...
We've got some connection to. But B, how are they going to tie it together to the original?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys know all about this. You fucking run people off the road before too. This sounds fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. No, it looks different,
don't admit
doesn't it?
that.
It looks different.
I think that I think it's more in keeping with what I kind of said when we did the episode, is it shouldn't have been that they hit somebody. It should have been that they drove someone off the cliff.
It looks like someone's driven off the cliff, for sure.
And it's like,
we
were
begs
involved.
The question, why are we talking to Freddie and other than,
ours was different. We ran the guy over.
We got the letter, I know what you did last summer. Well, if it's common knowledge that this happened to us, it could just be someone doing the same thing to you. But
it could be a prank, Jared.
I really don't get what they're coming back for other than possibly one of them being involved in it. But I don't think they're going to do that. So
no, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
It's a thumbs down for me.
Big time. I've seen nothing in there that makes me think I want to see this other than name and familiar faces.
No.
Outside of that, I'm just like, this
is the worst part.
I'm walking into there, handing over my 20 and thinking, all right, just fucking hit me with it.
This is the worst thing about it, Jared.
Yeah.
Is it, I've got, it's a thumbs down, but there is no doubt about it. I'll be there.
No doubt. Night one.
Like night one, I'm there.
Yeah. But
and maybe it's just fucking curiosity to see whether it's going to be really bad.
Yeah, I think it is.
I've
got such a bad taste after the TV series too.
Oh, I never saw it. I'm so fucking glad.
Yeah.
Because you were scathing on the TV series. And the other one is The Naked Gun. Is it a remake? Is it a sequel? It's kind of a bit in the middle by the look of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a reboot, but it's
throwbacks
clearly,
to the original
it's
series.
Clearly, tied into the original series.
This was a full trailer. We'd had a teaser that didn't tell you much.
Yeah.
This one shows you a few of the gags.
Yes.
And I'm not going to lie, I laughed.
I did.
A couple of times.
Yeah.
Quite heartily when it keeps showing him eating all sorts of random things and fucking having to go to the crapper. And then you cut back to him and he's eating a fucking hot dog and then he's like, I'm gonna ruin another suit. I can go for that shit. I can go for it.
I'll tell you the bit that gave me a bit of hope, because there's still parts of it where I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna go. The worst one for me is the little girl and him pulling off the mic. I don't know why they keep showing that, because I don't think that's funny at all.
Yeah.
But the bit when he's in the interrogation and he's like, and he starts reading the guy's sheet, he's like, 20 years for man's laughter or something like that. The guy's like, manslaughter. And he goes, must have been a hell of a joke.
And then he's like, who's going to arrest me? Other cops?
that gives me like the Leslie Nielsen kind
yes.
of those sorts of things. Like,
I mean,
those
Jared,
sorts of gags were the bread and butter of the previous ones.
I even got a fucking laugh where he was like, take a seat. And she fucking takes the seat and walks out.
Exactly. That's what the previous ones lived on.
Yeah, I know.
And so if you get that, I'll be pretty happy.
Yes.
And do you want to know the bit that I laughed at the most?
Not the fucking bit with the oven at the end.
No. The guy that gets his head slammed into the bar. They pull his head back up and his nose is fucking squashed. His face is all wrinkled. I was like, I just fucking burst out laughing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And look, Neeson, it seems, has kind of picked, he's perfectly picked for that sort of like deadpan kind of delivery.
Yeah, this
might
one
work.
definitely showed a few moments of
might
that.
work there. So I certainly don't have an issue with the cast or anything. I think the actors seem like they'll do they'll play the sort of straight style with this ridiculous shit going on.
Yeah.
I think that's perfectly fine. But my concern is, like the other films in the series, it's like jokes after jokes after jokes usually, and you've got to have a strike rate. The first movie had a fucking like 90% strike rate.
Yeah.
It
and
hit everything.
That's the major concern is, are we going to see these 4 or 5 funny gags in the trailer, and then when we go in, it's not going to be much more than that.
Much more. Yeah, that'll be disappointing.
It's always hard to tell. But
I'm going to go with like partially up.
I'm up. This one's turned me a little more positive, than the teaser. But I've still got concerns. But it just kind of showed me, all right, well, you're at least heading the direction that I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
So let's see. As you said, let's see how the strike rate is.
Okay, a little bit of news. A couple of pieces of news, Jared, before we go on. Dave Bautista joins the Roadhouse sequel, bringing his range,
his
gravitas and range to
his better acting skills than The Rock.
Yeah. Better acting skills than Conor McGregor too. So I've just fucking Roadhouse 2 can only get better in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so.
The first remake was all right.
Are they bringing Jonathan Sketch back from Roadhouse 2?
I wish. Talk about fucking charisma. The one with Jake Gyllenhaal, the first one that they had, I thought was all right. It was not brilliant, but it was okay.
It was okay. It was fine.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do with the sequel.
Yeah.
And
speaking of The Rock, what about his news? About him talking to Todd McFarlane about notes on his action figure for Black Adam that it needed to be more ripped.
Get your fucking hand off it. Get your hand off it.
Yeah.
Dwayne, get your fucking hand off it.
I think Todd
You're
McFarlane
starting to
actually
become
said
a bit of a dick.
Todd McFarlane was kind of trying to be like diplomatic about it. He was like, look, he was right because but he was saying the suit that they'd fucking got him in the movie was kind of limiting that look. So the figure that they did was looking like that. But Dwayne wanted a little more, mass
Dwayne.
on the muscles there.
Like, just stop.
Yeah.
He's just starting to, like, the more we dig into his business interests, so to speak.
Yeah.
And his movie making and his involvement in his movie making.
Yeah.
The more I'm just starting to feel like you've got to stop.
Yeah.
Man.
And we know these stories are going to come out, Dwayne.
Yes.
We know if you piss in a bottle on set, it's gonna be told somewhere.
Look, Dwayne, if I weed in a bottle right now, no one would care. Okay? But you're a highly publicised person.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have a private life. I'm not saying that you can't be a bit of if you want to be an asshole because it's better for you business-wise, if you got to push some buttons, fine. But I don't know. This is
and you're the dollar man. When you you get to make those decisions.
Yeah.
Fine. But what it's telling me is more and more of what we've kind of thought about previously, you know, we've said he comes across as a really decent bloke in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
But the more this stuff comes out, the more it's like, is that a sales pitch, basically?
Yeah, I mean, I remember another bloke who used to come across as a decent bloke for a long time. One Will Smith, who's no longer being seen as a decent bloke.
No, that's right.
Because the facade sort of fell away.
The facade fell away, and then he released that new song of his.
Oh!
Will.
What the fuck was going? Jesus Christ, that was terrible.
Yeah,
but look, if I'm running a multi-million-dollar company producing movies, if I'm acting in fucking 10 movies a year, if I'm wrestling still, if I'm fucking running a tequila company, I don't. You know what?
Wrestling.
I don't give two shits about the fucking muscles on my action figure. I couldn't care fucking less.
I say, Todd, you're the expert, mate. I'll leave that to you.
You know what? I'm saying don't bother me with this shit.
I say,
someone
Todd,
else make a fucking...
As a man with, like, you know...
years of experience in the action...
As a man with years of experience and me as someone with many of your action figures sitting on my shelf,
I'll
you
leave
do you,
to
mate.
You, yes. You make those choices.
Yeah.
It's not up to me.
Yeah.
And fucking why do I care?
No.
Like, it's just it's so fucking
We're not
petty.
counting points in action figures.
It's such bullshit.
Things, mate.
Such bullshit. Okay, you will like this, though, this piece of news.
Is it about Poop Cruise?
No.
No? Okay.
I wish it was about Poop Cruise, but it's not. Dolph Lundgren may have a cameo in the new Masters of the Universe picture.
I very much like that.
I heard on the Vine he was in town.
King Randall?
That's what they were saying. The potential. Then Dolph gave us a little bit of meat and said, "Oh, we might be able to do something there."
Yeah.
But gave nothing further.
Yep.
But everyone's talking about that character.
Mm-hmm.
It could be Dolph. And the word on the street was where they were filming, Dolph was in town.
Of course he was.
Yeah. That's because they called him and said, "Can you do a cameo for us?"
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, no worries."
Dolph let everyone know he was in town, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Dolph called up the paparazzi and said, "Hey, Dolph Lundgren's in town." And when they said, "Who?" He said, "Dolph Lundgren, 80s action star."
And they said, "We'll get back to you about this." And he said, "I'm staying in a hotel under the name Just in Case."
Yeah.
But that's my news.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm fucking very happy with that news.
Well, it's exactly the
throwback, mate. Throwback.
It's exactly the type of stuff that I like to see. Like, especially given that the original one is not, it's fondly remembered in some circles, but
it's not most people.
It's not remembered as like a classic, and it's not real. It's one of those situations where you can't really pin it on Dolph.
No.
So to give him the opportunity to come back and be involved in, the first crack at trying to get it back on deck. This is the sort of thing that DC Comics have done or DC across the TV and movies have done quite well lately, I think, is that they get old people that have an affinity for a role like back into the circle somehow.
It's got a pretty solid cast, hasn't it?
Yeah.
The new movie
looks pretty strong on that
front. I
front.
saw some pictures of the guy as He-Man.
Yeah.
In the full kit.
Who looks the part.
Looks the part.
Leto as Skeletor, isn't it? Jared Leto?
Yeah, Jared Leto as Skeletor. Someone's playing Man-at-Arms. Someone well known.
Someone?
Fuck, I'll have to find that out. But I didn't actually realise too the actress playing Tila is Camila Mendes, who was in Riverdale.
Yeah.
Normally dark haired, but she had blonde hair.
Yep.
And the pictures of her, she looked fucking great as in the role.
Yeah, there's quite.
Is it Travis Knight? Might be Travis Knight's directing it. Who did Bumblebee?
Alison Brie.
Alison Brie.
Yeah, Travis Knight's directing. It's Idris Elba is Man-at-Arms.
Ah, yes, classy.
So
brings a bit of fucking gravitas to it.
Plenty of names.
Yeah. It looks like it could be all right. This.
Yeah,
a quietly sort of fucking going about its business and doing, it might turn out to be a bit of a sleeper.
Well, I've got one concern, and it came out of one of the photos.
Was it Jared Leto? Is he sending fucking used condoms to people?
It showed He-Man being arrested on what looked just like on like Earth again.
Oh no!
I'm like, why are we doing this again?
Ridiculous.
It didn't work the first time.
No, it did.
Just leave the fucking thing in Eternia.
I don't get that either.
Just leave it in
I don't
Eternia.
understand.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Fuck
So
me.
that's my only concern. But outside of that, everything's looking all right.
Yeah, agreed. All right. Let's take a break and let's dive into Hell Motel. Here's the trailer.
We'd like a room for the night. A honeymoon suite?
You know that I've been traveling through the night, and baby, I
Welcome, everyone. Each one of you is a VIP of the true crime scene.
Please strap in.
We deliver total access to the most famous murder site in history.
The Cold River Slaughter. And you give us the right to use whatever comes up for promotional purposes.
Typical influencer engagement contract.
Hello, selfies.
All the best horror takes place in isolation. Evil Dead, Cabin in the Woods,
The Shining. Do you think the original murderer has come back?
Maybe we have a copycat.
Thank you so much for the invite, but I want to check out.
Crazy murders like these, they never stop at just one.
He or she will strike again. Who do you think it's going to be?
The bigger question is why.
Oh, I have a better question. Who do you want it to be?
We all have a killer hiding within us.
Hell Motel, Episode 1 from 2025. It's created by Aaron Martin and Ian Carpenter. This episode was directed by Adam McDonald, who directed Backcountry. It's produced by Paige Height, who produced Hudson and Rex, Alex House, who produced Top Line, and Aaron Berry, who produced Magic. It's written by Aaron Martin and Ian Carpenter, who also wrote Guess Who?, which is a Tubi original. It stars Eric McCormack as Hemingway, Sean Benson as Crow, Paula Brancati as Paige Harper, and Gwendolyn DeGraves as Adriana. This was supposed to be the 6th season of the show Slasher. So basically, I think you can work out where it's probably going. How did you feel, just generally, about the first episode?
Yeah, it was fine.
Yep.
It was fine. Me and you both probably enjoyed the last 2 seasons of Slasher the most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Feels like a bit of a drop from that, but probably more enjoyable than the season, probably most of the seasons of Slasher before that I came across.
Yeah.
It feels like these guys have they're into the pocket of what they do. So they kind of know what you want and what you're looking for in this if you're coming back for it. And it's interesting that you mentioned that about Slasher, because one of my first notes was, I don't know when that happened, but it just felt like my first note was, is this like a stealthy sort of next season of Slasher?
Yeah.
Just calling it something else. But yeah, all in all, I think they put a few things in play that I liked. There was a couple of big downers that pulled my enthusiasm back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, it was kind of what I expected from what they've previously delivered.
So, what would you give it out of 5, the episode?
Ooh, it's a tough one. Probably a 3.
3?
Maybe a 2.5.
Okay,
Yeah.
2.5.
Yeah.
Right down the middle.
2.5.
Right down the guts.
Down the line. Yeah.
Down the line. All right, I had similar feelings. Solid opening episode, puts the pieces in place, and I think it's a fairly interesting story and a way to go with the slasher, that slasher type of situation. And they pile on the gore as per usual, but it's let down by some pretty shitty dialogue. and some pretty bad fucking camera work. Like there's one particular shot where I just said to my wife, I'm so sick of this shit. Like, I'm so fucking sick of this. That, filmmakers think this is something that they should continue to do. But overall, I'd say I'd also go 2.5. I feel like it set up the pieces. It didn't fully pull it all off, but my hope is that the second episode will improve.
Yep.
Big blow, though. You took out your best actor.
Yeah.
Which I think was a mistake and might turn out to be a pretty big mistake.
Yep.
But overall, 2.5.
Yep.
Okay. Likes, the idea of a group of true crime aficionados from different spheres coming together to an old, place where an unsolved murder has occurred.
Yeah, with a business kind of interest of trying to get it going again. Yeah.
I like that.
That worked fine.
Solid for for a slasher movie, the hotel location out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It works well for any slasher that you'd put together.
Yep.
So I was pretty happy with that.
Yep.
Killer's costume. They've always done pretty well on that in the slasher series.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm tying it to something that the series is around. So the killer's always dressed in a certain way. Long black robe, the kind of demon mask with the horns. It fits in with the whole occult thing that they're peddling, and it looks good. The first kill, gory, brutal sort of kill in classic kind of style that these guys have always done. They kind of linger on it. They like to linger on it.
They do, yes.
And it's quite gory. I think it's because, these are guys who are like, well, back in the day we used to have to everything was nuded.
Yeah.
Like, if we wanted to put something on TV, it had to be fucking chopped up and the censors.
And the first season of Slasher started on TV, didn't it?
I think so.
It started on TV and kind of went to Netflix, and then the seasons after that,
things got real
heavy because they started going onto streaming services. And
and they were like, well, we can do whatever the fuck we like. So they're still in keeping there. It's a bloody broken bottle shoved into the guy's throat, which was
nasty.
There's also one where they cut a girl's throat and it's fucking bucketing out. Like, you can see it pumping, like, with the heartbeat.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite grotesque.
Mm-hmm.
Eric McCormack.
Very happy to see him back.
Oh, fuck, I love the bloke.
Yeah.
As soon as he steps on screen, everything just went up a notch.
Yeah. And especially in a role that let him carry on a bit.
Yeah. It wasn't as good as the previous role where he was absolutely fucking chewing scenery left and right.
I think it could have been, but we'll talk about why it won't be.
But he is just good value all the way.
Yes.
The best actor.
Especially when he starts carrying on about, you're getting paid to be here. Someone should be getting paid. It should be me and all this sort of stuff. Like,
he starts blowing up to Lux.
That was where I was looking forward to seeing him bring a bit of the comedy into like he did in the previous season.
Yes.
Although, we found him highly amusing in the previous season, that's for sure.
But also much better actor than the others.
He's a very good actor.
That's not I'm not trying to fucking shit can anyone.
Yep.
But there's a pretty big difference between them.
Yes.
Which is quite startling. When he comes on screen, there's a certain sort of like charisma and shit that sort of comes out.
Yeah.
And the way he kind of handles himself, much more natural than some of the others.
Yep.
So, it was really good to see him.
Yeah.
Like, I was pretty happy that he was there.
Also, the meal shaped like the woman was like, they played it quite well. It was good work because it was bringing a little bit of the dark comedy into it. And then, you see all these true crime people sort of just diving in and gobbling it up. And it's like, okay, well, we might be going for a little bit of sort of subtext here.
Yeah.
It doesn't, they drop off that a bit, but that scene I thought was actually quite good.
Yes, I really liked that scene, in fact.
It somewhat reminded me of, human meat pies in the previous season of Slasher. All I could think about was the police chief? What was his name? Just gobbling up a pie and licking his lips.
Brilliant. My last like was unfortunately, this is spoilers for people, but Hemingway is steamed like a ham, Jared.
Yeah.
Possibly over-steamed, because fuck,
He was burnt. He was
he
overcooked.
was fucking cooked, but he was also kind of like the toxic waste guy in RoboCop. He was all fucked.
A little bit.
He was dripping and shit.
Yeah.
It was a pretty nasty kill, that.
Yeah.
Nothing we haven't seen before. The old, lock someone in the sauna and then turn it up.
Yeah.
But it was a nice grotesque kind of end to the episode, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
But it comes with a negative.
Definitely.
Unfortunately.
Definitely.
Any other likes for you?
Well, so I think this probably falls into the category of what you were saying about some of the dialogue and whatnot as a kind of negative spin on it. And I recognise that it's not necessarily peak TV, the best TV show that you're going to get. But the initial sort of intros while they're riding into the motel, there's a little bit of clumsiness in the chat between them. But it also got me interested when they were dropping the sort of exposition and was an example of these guys kind of knowing what we're coming back for and just getting straight into it.
Yes.
Just rolling straight into what we're going into and setting it all up from there.
Yeah.
I actually quite liked that introductory bit.
Yeah, so did I.
And also it sort of ties into the kill that you said there, like the fact that they're using a costume that is being used by the proprietors of the hotel.
Yeah.
Brings in a little bit of that, it's a little bit played. And even these guys have done it when they did the Terror Train remake on Tubi of allowing the killers to go around and have people just be like, oh, fuck, it's you again.
Yeah.
I thought it worked okay for that one where he didn't he just kind of sat there and said, yeah, fucking whatever, really scary. And then it was just like, now you old mate from RoboCop 10 minutes later.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So, yeah, I thought that was okay as well.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, negatives. So I had a bit of a problem with directorial efforts here. And I don't know what Adam McDonald, was it? Adam McDonald?
Yeah.
He's done Backcountry. I've never seen Backcountry, but I've heard it's actually all right. There was some dark shots in the night that were too dark. So you couldn't actually see what would make things out. But then there's a lot of really kind of off-kilter directorial camera angles and stuff. They decide to shoot the opening stuff in almost like a weird kind of old ye oldie kind of style, even though it was in 1995. And then my absolute fucking bugbear, there was a number of shots where people are running, where the camera is running behind them.
Yeah.
But it's not on steady cam and it's fucking jumping up and down that is the most annoying fucking, get rid of that shit, okay? Get rid of it.
Yeah.
It brings nothing to the table. I never at any point when I watch that shit do I think to myself, oh, geez, it feels like I'm there. No, it doesn't. I feel sick.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking all over the joint. So that stuff, I would have said poor choices, Jared.
Yeah.
Poor choices.
You could put it that way.
Yeah.
There's certainly a couple, especially in the sequence that you mentioned that was shot set in 95. There was a couple of bits there where I was like, oh, fuck. Was that supposed to be left in?
It's almost as if it was being shot like it was 1975.
Yeah. Well, I thought, as soon as I saw it, I thought, are we doing a bit of Psycho?
Yeah.
Here?
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of got past that reasonably quickly because it was sort of, we get to the hotel and sort of settles down a little bit. Sorry, motel, and it settles down a little bit.
Yeah, motel.
But yeah, no, I see what you're saying for sure.
Yeah, there's a few choices I wouldn't have made.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thoughts on that.
Yep.
Some of the dialogue just a little bit smelly.
Yeah, a couple of bits.
Dialogue I guess can be hard. You're trying to bring in exposition. You're trying to make it feel natural.
Yeah.
As you bring that in, sometimes it's not successful.
Yeah.
And in this case, you had a lot of exposition to give early.
Yep.
And it probably is the early going where it struggles a little bit.
And the fact that they're trying to differentiate these people by what their field is, but also kind of a little bit what their morals are about their reasons for being there. It kind of results in, as you mentioned, the old mate, the medium, just comes off as an insufferable turd a couple of times. Like,
yeah, he's talking and it's just like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and it's not like Eric McCormick where it's funny.
Yes.
It's kind of just, stop talking.
But also, you know, he's not a great actor, that guy.
Not from what I've seen so far.
He kind of felt a little stiff. And that's the difference between him and McCormack. Even if McCormack's given some stuff that is a bit shaky, his performance, he's such a good performer that he can possibly get you past it. He can get you past it. The thing about Eric McCormack, it's pretty clear he got a lot of some good lines there. Like he got a lot of good stuff.
Good ones there to deliver.
Which he delivers really well. So this guy's not getting that.
No.
The stuff is pretty poor.
Yep.
I mean, I did have to laugh where I think it was when they found the corpse. Was it the corpse or the first death? And then old mate fucking touches the medium guy touches the guy on the shoulder. Now come on, mate, and just calm down. He basically tells you to fuck off.
Yeah,
I was like, that's perfect.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Yep. I would say the episode as a whole was kind of up and down.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is the problem. We've spoken before about, you know, how we're basing seasons of TV on things that are usually 80 to 90 minutes for a reason, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so I kind of give them credit for trying to flesh out some of these characters in some level.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely points of the show where it just feels like a bit of a drop in excitement and engagement. Yeah. I would say, you know, kind of between the dinner and Hemingway's death, there was just a bit of a lull.
Dip. Yeah.
And I think, you know, it feels like, you know, that's going to be the case for the season. What is it? 8 episodes?
I think Ripper was 6.
Yeah. Which
wouldn't
probably benefited.
I think I wouldn't surprise me if it's going to be 6.
I think it's 8. I think I heard it was 8. I could be wrong there, but yeah.
That's a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time.
Yep.
I'm assuming it's a whodunit. So, but that I've got just like here that might go against that. But
it's 8 episodes.
Okay. Dressing up as a fucking murderer and chasing people through the woods to fake kill them is the heights of arseholedom.
Yes, but we expected it because we're dealing with some arseholes.
Yeah,
here, didn't we?
But it was just, once again, we've done this a million times.
Yeah.
Could we have done something different?
Yes.
It just
it was at the point
rote.
where straight away when the coffee cup gets cut,
I
was like, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
Like,
it was just... We've been down this road, a lot of times. Like,
indeed.
I know that there's a difference. There's a difference between giving some familiar beats and then having things where people would become sick of them. When you're making something,
and
like
I guess
this.
from their perspective, that might be, we think this is going to play all right, and it just doesn't.
Yeah, it
work.
doesn't play. I mean, they've probably used it in other seasons of Slasher.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So. I just had a bit of a problem with it.
Yeah.
It didn't work for me.
It's definitely something that's been done a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Again, spoilers, killing Hemingway.
Mistake.
I think we've made a big mistake there.
I think we have too.
Because maybe McCormack only had a small window.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, made himself available for that.
Yes.
Perhaps that's the reasoning. Perhaps he's going to come back in another fashion. I don't know.
I hope not, because that was one of my thoughts, especially when you saw his body. There was part of me thinking, that looks like your dinner. It looks very much like your dinner, but
They focused
prior
on
to
the
that, when
on
he's sitting in there whinging and talking about him, let me out and all that sort of stuff. I'm like, if you bring him back, it's just a cheat from here.
yeah.
Like showing us that and then no other characters around while that's happening. Yeah, I felt you couldn't really do that.
No, and you've taken out your best actor.
Yep.
I think that's probably not a good idea.
No.
It probably wasn't a good idea.
I was hoping that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, but it was disappointing. I was quite disappointed. As soon as he got in the sauna, I was like, oh, shit.
Yes.
That's the end of this.
Same.
Which was disappointing.
Yes, bit of a letdown.
Now, the last one for me is they kind of give you they connect the 95 sequence with some people who've turned up.
Yep.
I mean, that stuck out like dog's nuts.
Well, yeah. Initially, I was sitting there going, so I don't know why, because like you saw the first one and you saw what was going on,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, so it's them.
Yep.
Then when we're going through this, these two people turn up, and at the start, I wasn't thinking about it.
No.
All I was thinking was always beware the outsider, especially when they show up and tell you the roads are closed.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So I was like, very quickly, and then it was a good 10, 15 minutes where I wasn't connecting it, and then I just went, oh.
Yeah.
Like, I just sort of...
It's them.
Yeah. So big downer on that side of things.
And Jared, if
And
anyone
especially,
knocks on my door and says, "Look, the roads are out, and we need to come and spend the
Yeah.
night," they're getting a get the fuck
Yeah.
off my
You're
property.
on your own, mate.
Yeah. Get off my fucking property.
Yeah, roads are closed. Well, you better drive on the footpath. See ya.
Tell someone who fucking cares. Now get out of here.
Yeah, no, I think it's a big downer, and I forgot to mention this in the likes. I do like, one of the big downers was like revealing the 95 sequence. Like, we're going to do a pull the masks off. It's like, we didn't need that.
Yeah.
Because we got it.
Yeah. It was already there early on.
Yeah. I actually think, and because you didn't show anybody else in the 95 sequence, you showed the blood or whatever.
The blood, yeah.
But putting that aside, I actually really dig the idea of, and again, big spoilers, hopefully you've watched the episode if you're listening to it, but I dig the idea of the original killers are in the group that are trying to work out who's the killer.
Yes.
That is the plus that comes out of it.
Yes. As long as they aren't the killers.
I don't think they are.
Thank fuck.
I think it's a case of, I think that's what I got out of the end of the episode is you've got these two, and then that look they gave each other at the end of the episode is we've got somebody doing what we did.
Yeah.
And we don't know who it is.
Yeah.
Which, if that's the case, cool. That's going to give you some legs for the next few episodes, hopefully.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's a positive to come out of what I would have said was a negative. That it's so telegraphed it wasn't fucking funny. Like, I think you didn't put the pieces together at the time for about 15 minutes, but it came to you.
Yeah.
And I think that's not good, because it set him up straight away.
Yeah.
That was it for me.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything else.
No, I didn't have any big downers other than in the initial sequence driving past the hotel and looking at it and thinking, fuck, the Bates Motel's a couple of k's down the road. How about we stay there? Because I think it would probably be safer there.
I would much rather have a shower with some guy fucking looking through a hole in the wall and flogging himself. At least I know what I'm going to get. Yeah. I have no idea what I'm getting here.
Okay, so piggybacking off our sort of slasher seasons, you got any early theories?
Predictions? Who it is? I think the girl who was in the movies.
Yeah,
because we spend an inordinate amount of time sort of making her victimized.
Interesting, because they are placing her as like the final girl of the movies, but like the final girl of the series too.
I think something might...
And she's never lasted a series.
Full series, no.
I don't really have anything about
the actress
group
is also
just yet.
an exec producer.
So. Yeah. But so was Eric McCormick, wasn't he?
Yeah, was he? Oh, fuck. Jesus Christ.
So she'll be gone next episode. That just means you work less, Adam.
Yeah, I'm getting paid anyway, so I don't want to do any work.
I don't really have anything in the group yet, but I got a little bit of Roy Burns from the limo driver.
Are you talking to me, Sheriff?
There was this bit where they're talking to the owners and they're like going on, and the limo driver just kind of pops in and goes, "Where do you want these?" The bags. And it's like, there's not a reason for him to be engaging with anybody in this scene at all.
Yeah.
You pay that guy nothing. You don't give him a line.
Yeah. He's a fucking extra.
Not a fucking 50-worder or like.
He's not getting 50 words.
But yeah, I just laughed at that. I don't think there's anything to it, but there was a couple of sequences where I'm like, that's Roy Burns material right there.
Yeah, fair enough. You
yeah.
got no one in the group though.
No, I haven't really circled.
Yeah, I know, but just throw us something out there. The medium.
He's too chilled out about all this shit.
He's fucking murdered next week. You know it is.
But
He's not like Jared. He's not lasting the summer. Okay.
Well, I think that's a safer pick than the exec producer. So. You do that shit because you're tired of being in front of the camera, don't you?
Yeah, do you think Eric McCormack went, right, I've had enough of this fucking bullshit,
I'll give you one episode. You give me the exec producer credit, you get one episode out of it. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so that's the first episode of Hell Motel. You can find us on Podomatic, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. We're on Instagram at thrillmepodcastau. We're on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, and we're at Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com. Please rate and review us wherever you find us. Keep an eye on the Facebook page for details of our next cover, but we will probably continue to push on with this series and knock it straight out of the ground.
I think so.
Because there is another episode. There is also a second episode already released.
It's already on, yep.
So until then, take it easy, everyone, and we'll catch you all later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.